70 years before that scene in the Athenian state prison, a man named Socrates and a woman named Phanerete festooned the doorway of their home with an olive wreath. The year was approximately 469 BCE, and the place was the deme, or district, of Allopeki, part of the polis, or city-state, of Athens. The polis occupied the eastern Greek peninsula known as Attica, and its nucleus, the large city that was also called Athens, was a mere mile or so to the northwest of the couple's home. The decoration on the couple's door was an announcement. Phanerete had given birth to a boy. The baby received his name when he was 10 days old, once he had proven strong enough to survive the perils of newborn life. Sophroniscus and Phanerete chose Socrates, which combined the notion of wholeness, sos, and power, kratos. The gods must have been favorably disposed. As he grew, the boy showed every sign of strength and intelligence. Although with his thick lips, flat nose, broad nostrils, and wide-set, bulging eyes, he would never be handsome. Sophroniscus, as far as we know, was a stonecutter. Like other workmen, he probably maintained his workshop in a front room of the house, but if he followed the usual pattern, he had little to do with the early rearing of his son. For most Athenian men, home was a place for eating, sleeping, and recovering from illness. The real business of life, beyond the need to make a living, consisted of gathering in the public spaces of the city for conversation, political activity, and athletic pursuits. Phanerete's life was completely different. Like other women, she mostly stayed at home, where she engaged in the endless tasks of maintaining the household. As she spun, wove, and sewed to produce the family's clothing, Socrates played at her feet. The little boy's everyday life was constricted and dark. The mud-brick house contained only the barest essentials, and the unglazed windows were usually shuttered to keep out the sun and rain. But Socrates soon understood that he was part of a much bigger, more wondrous world. He learned that his family descended from Daedalus, the greatest human craftsman who had ever lived. The same Daedalus who had cleverly fashioned 2 sets of wings so that he and his son Icarus could escape the evil king Minos on the island of Crete. The story ended sadly with the tragic death of Icarus, but Daedalus was a brilliant inventor, certainly a worthy man to have as an ancestor. And since Daedalus was the descendant of another craftsman, the metal-working god Hephaestus, and Hephaestus was the son of Zeus, Socrates could trace his ancestry all the way back to the most powerful god of all. There were a great many gods, and they were everywhere. Socrates' home, like every other one in Athens, featured an altar to Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, and temples and shrines to one deity or another dotted the city and countryside. Even the naked landscape spoke of the god's presence. The cone-shaped Mount Lycabettus, to the northeast of Socrates' home, was more than just a stony protrusion on the Athenian plain. It was really a rock that Athena, the goddess of wisdom, had accidentally dropped when she heard some bad news. The Areopagus, an outcropping to the northwest, was where Ares, the god of war, had been tried and acquitted by his fellow gods for the murder of Poseidon's son. But the best story of all concerned the Acropolis, the plateau that rose in the middle of the city. Athens was beautiful even in its earliest days, and the gods Athena and Poseidon each laid claim to the place as a personal possession. Since the city could not belong to both gods at once, they challenged one another to a contest. Each god would present the residents with a gift, and the one who presented the better gift would win. Escorted by a procession of locals, the 2 gods climbed the Acropolis, and the contest began. Poseidon, the god of the sea, went first. He struck the side of the cliff with his trident, and out gushed a bountiful stream of water. The spectators were awed, not surprisingly, since no city can survive without water. But the awe turned to dismay when the people discovered that the water was as salty as the sea. Poseidon's gift was useless. Next came Athena, who caused an olive tree to sprout from the unpromising soil. This time the people's awe was justified, since the olive tree provided food, oil, and wood. Athena won the contest. The city was hers, and she graced it with her name.